Have you ever been so close to finishing something, but you literally just want to quit? I am not talking about needing a nap. I am talking about that deep, heavy feeling inside your mind that says, you know what, I can just finish this tomorrow. But tomorrow comes, and the task is still sitting right there staring at you. Before we get into the crazy reason why most people give up right before they succeed, I need to give you a massive spoiler. Later in this video, we are going to dive into 10 specific English questions that will totally change how you speak. And to spark your curiosity right now, here are the numbers and the exact answers to those 10 questions before we even start. Question 1's answer is exhausted. Question 2 is give up. Question 3 is persistence. Question 4 is shaky. Question 5 is lead. Question 6 is accomplish. Question 7 is quit. Question 8 is fluffy. Question 9 is burnout. And question 10 is done. Why do these 10 random words matter so much? Because they hold the secret to mastering not just a language, but anything hard you try to do in life. Stick around, because we are breaking down every single one of them. So, let's talk about that exact moment when you feel totally drained. The moment where you tell yourself you are just going to stop. I saw this huge sign outside a gym the other day, and it literally stopped me in my tracks. It said in these massive bold letters, "Don't stop when you are tired, stop when you are done." It sounds super catchy, right? But living by that rule is low-key one of the hardest things ever. When I am tired, my brain just screams at me to sit on the couch, grab some snacks, and scroll on my phone. Let me tell you a real story that happened to me just last weekend. I decided I was going to fix my giant bookshelf in the living room. It was super wobbly. Every time I walked past it, I thought it was going to crash down and crush all my stuff. I woke up Saturday morning full of energy. I went to the hardware store, bought a bunch of screws and tools, and I thought, this is going to be so easy. I can finish this in like an hour tops. Well, I am way too optimistic sometimes. 2 hours later, I was still sitting on my living room floor. It was hot, my hands were totally dirty, my back was aching, and my living room looked like a disaster zone. There were pieces of wood and books everywhere. I looked at the mess, and I hit that exact wall. I was so tired. I picked up my phone to order a large pizza and just leave the mess for next week. I almost did it, but then I looked at the books piled up on my rug. If I stopped right then, my apartment would be useless for the whole week. It is exactly like when you are looking for English speaking practice for beginners online. You start out super hyped, right? You watch a video, you repeat the words, but then it gets hard. Your brain hurts, and you just want to click away and watch funny cat videos instead. But if you stop when it gets hard, your goal just stays messy on the floor. So, I put my phone down. I told myself, do not stop because you are tired. Stop when the shelf is fixed. I worked until late that night, and when I put the very last book on that strong, steady shelf, I felt incredible. I was physically drained, but emotionally, I was so hyped because I was actually done. That feeling of being done gives you a crazy type of energy. It happens with everything. A few months ago, I decided I wanted to run a 5K. Now, I am not a runner, at all. Getting off the couch to go to the kitchen is sometimes a journey for me. But I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. I went to the park, put on my favorite playlist, and started running. The first 2 miles were actually a vibe. I felt like an athlete, but right around mile 3, things got real. My legs literally felt like heavy blocks of metal. My breathing was out of control, and I am pretty sure my face was the color of a tomato. My brain was actively begging me to stop. It was saying, just walk home, you tried your best, you can run again next month. But I knew if I stopped, I would just feel disappointed the rest of the day. The tiredness is temporary, but the feeling of quitting stays with you. So I kept jogging. Honestly, a turtle could have passed me. But then, the funniest thing happened. While I was struggling to survive, this random, super cute dog ran right up to me. It had a tennis ball in its mouth, and it dropped the ball literally right under my foot. I did this crazy, weird jump dance to keep from stepping on the ball and tripping. I looked absolutely ridiculous. A few people walking by started laughing, and honestly, I started laughing too. That little moment of laughing totally snapped me out of my bad mood. It gave me just enough energy to push through to the finish line. When I crossed it, I collapsed on the grass for like 20 minutes, but I was smiling so hard. I was done. And honestly, learning how to stop translating in your head when you learn English is the exact same journey. You study so hard, you memorize vocabulary, and then suddenly you are in a real conversation, and your brain just freezes. You feel exhausted trying to find the right words. You feel embarrassed if you make a mistake, and you just want to switch back to your native language. You want to quit. But that is the test. That is your mile 3. If you push past that awkward, tired phase, you suddenly cross the finish line. You become a speaker. Let me share a quick trick I use whenever I hit that wall. I call it the 5-minute rule. When I am working on a project or studying, and I feel that deep urge to just shut my laptop and quit, I tell myself, just do 5 more minutes. Only 5. Anyone can survive 5 minutes, right? It sounds so easy that your brain accepts the deal. But usually, after those 5 minutes, you get into a rhythm, and you end up saying, okay, maybe 5 more. Before you know it, you have finished the task. Tricking your brain with small steps is literally a superpower. Now, does this mean you can never rest? Absolutely not. Taking a break is totally different from stopping forever. Think of it like a car racing on a track. The car has to make a pit stop to get new tires and more gas. If it does not stop, it will crash. But the car doesn't park at the pit stop forever. It gets back on the track. If you are learning a new language and your brain is totally fried, take a day off, go watch a movie, sleep. But the next day, you have to open your books again. You have to keep practicing. Rest if you must, but do not quit. And remember, done does not mean perfect. My bookshelf has a tiny scratch on the side, and one of the shelves is low-key a little crooked, but it works. It holds my books. If I tried to make it absolutely perfect, I would probably still be sitting on my living room floor crying over a screwdriver. Done is better than perfect. Speak with your friends even if your grammar is not perfect. Communicate your ideas. If they understand you, you did your job. The goal is connection, not perfection. Now, let's go back to those 10 answers I gave you at the very start of this video. Let's break them down into our 10 questions for grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. I am going to explain each one clearly so you can start using them in your everyday life immediately. Question 1a. What is a much stronger, advanced vocabulary word to use when you want to say you are very, very tired? Answer: exhausted. Listen, saying I am tired is totally fine, but when you want to express that your battery is at 0%, you say you are exhausted. Think of a car that has run out of exhaust fumes. It is completely empty. You can be physically exhausted after running a long race, or mentally exhausted after studying English all day. Next time a friend asks how your long day at work was, do not just say you are tired. Say, I am absolutely exhausted. It makes your English sound so much more natural and native. Question 2a. Which common phrasal verb means to completely stop trying to do something because it feels too hard? Answer: give up. This is a huge one for daily conversations. To give up means you throw your hands in the air and say I am not doing this anymore. You can use it in a positive way, like, I want to give up drinking soda. That means you are stopping a bad habit. But usually, we use it when we are talking about goals. When the bookshelf was broken on my floor, I really wanted to give up. The biggest advice you will ever hear is never give up on your dreams. Question 3a. What is the noun we use to describe the quality of someone who keeps going and continues to try, even when the situation is extremely difficult? Answer: persistence. Persistence is like a muscle. When you go to the gym, you lift weights to build your arm muscles. When you finish hard tasks instead of quitting, you build your persistence. It is the ability to ignore the voice in your head that says stop. If you study a new language every single day for just 10 minutes, even when you are busy, that shows incredible persistence. It is a highly respected trait in both work and personal life. Question 4a. How do you describe an object that is not stable, or a feeling of not being totally confident? Answer: shaky. This is a great descriptive adjective. Literally, My old bookshelf was shaky. If I pushed it, it would move back and forth. But we also use it to talk about our feelings or our skills. If you are nervous before giving a big presentation, you might say, "My voice was a little shaky." Or, if you just started learning a language, you can say, "My grammar is still a bit shaky, but I am practicing." It is a very natural way to describe something that is not quite solid yet. Question 5a. How do we pronounce the word spelled lead when we are talking about a super heavy gray metal, compared to when we mean being a guide or a boss? Answer: lead. Yes, it sounds exactly like the color red. This is tricky because the word lead can be pronounced as lead when it means to be a leader, like, "I will lead the team." But when I was running my 5K, my legs felt so heavy, I said they felt like lead. It is a type of very heavy metal. In English, we call words that are spelled the same but sound different and have different meanings homographs. Always remember the context. Heavy legs, lead. A good boss, lead. Question 6a. What is a powerful action verb that means to finish a goal successfully? Answer: accomplish. When you finally reach the finish line, you don't just finish, you accomplish something. It carries a feeling of pride. When I fixed my furniture, I felt a deep sense of accomplishment. You can ask someone in a job interview, "What is the biggest thing you have accomplished this year?" It is a much stronger, more professional word than just saying "What did you do?" It shows that hard work was involved to get the final result. Question 7a. What is the exact grammatical difference in feeling between the words stop and quit? Answer: quit. While these words are very similar, quit usually feels much more permanent and final. If you are driving a car, you stop at a red light. You don't quit at a red light. But if you hate your job, you don't just stop your job, you quit your job. Stopping can be a temporary break, like taking a pit stop, but quitting means the journey is completely over. That is why the quote says, "Do not stop when you are tired," because if you quit, you never get to see the end result. Question 8a. How do you describe something, usually an animal or a blanket, that has a lot of soft hair or fur? Answer: fluffy. This is such a fun, everyday adjective. Remember the dog that ran up to me in the park with the tennis ball? It was super fluffy. We use this word all the time to describe things that are light, soft, and airy. You can have a fluffy cat, a fluffy winter coat, or even fluffy pancakes for breakfast. Using descriptive words like fluffy instantly makes your storytelling way more colorful and engaging for the person listening to you. Question 9a. What is the modern term or slang for when you work so hard and for so long that you have absolutely zero mental or physical energy left? Answer: burnout. This word is everywhere right now. Burnout is a noun, and it describes a total collapse of energy. If you study for 10 hours a day without taking a break, you will experience burnout. Your brain will literally feel like a candle that has burned all the way down to nothing. Taking breaks, going for walks, and having fun are exactly how you avoid burnout. You have to protect your energy so you can actually enjoy the journey. Question 10a. What is the most beautiful, satisfying word in the English language when you are working on a massive, difficult project? Answer: done. It is such a simple word, but it holds so much power. Done means the mission is complete. It means you pushed through the exhaustion, you ignored the voice telling you to give up, and you crossed the finish line. Remember, done is always better than perfect. Don't worry about making zero mistakes. Just focus on getting the job done. You guys are doing a fantastic job just by listening to this video all the way through. You are practicing your listening, you are learning new vocabulary, and most importantly, you are not quitting. You are moving right toward your own finish line. If you vibe with this message and you want to keep growing and leveling up your language skills, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and join our family here at 10-Minute English Academy. We want to be part of your journey every single week. Leave a comment down below and tell me one thing you are going to finish today. I literally love reading your stories. It gives me so much energy to keep making these videos for you. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and whatever you do, do not stop when you are tired. Stop when you are done. See you in the next one.